Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on the 100 Days of Dignity Project. I'm Bridget Thoreson. I am the Chief Project Officer / Dream Wrangler at Hearken, which works with engagement journalism. I'm joined today by 3 of my 4 collaborators on this project, and Joe Amditis will be co-presenting with me, and then we also have Joy Meyer of Trusting News and John Hernandez of OpenNews. Jessel Noor of Solutions Journalism Network is at the SJN retreat today, so he said it's okay. We'll fill him in after the call. So I want to start by extending an invitation. If you are so inclined to share in the chat, what does dignity mean to you? We're here today to talk about dignity, and we would love to just get some opinions, comments on ways we can think about what dignity means to us. We have a 30-minute call today, so certainly please feel free to add your questions and comments to the chat. Joy is watching the chat. We should have a few minutes to address any burning questions at the end of the presentation, but as you're going to see, we really hope today's conversation, today's webinar, serves as a springboard for further discussions. I am just so grateful to everyone who's either attending live today or watching this later to be willing to explore this project with us. So here we are to talk about dignity. I'm going to be very open here and say how frightening things are right now for so many people, how uncertain and unclear. So when I had the opportunity to bring together the people you see here today to talk through some of these questions, it came from a place of wanting to assist with the important work that's happening to help people understand what's going on. Today, we're going to share with you an invitation. This really is an invitation to get involved with our exploration of what is possible when we focus our journalism on supporting dignity for communities. This gets to the heart of what drew myself and my project collaborators that you see here to journalism in the first place. And I'm sure that many of the 145 people who registered for today's webinar can relate. I want to be very clear that we understand how many challenges face journalists in doing their work every day. To me, that is not an argument against coming together to try to build something, but for it. When we're confronting wicked systemic problems, it is in coming together to ask what is possible that we can find a way forward. So last month, a group of representatives from these journalism support organizations gathered to ask, in this moment, what could we do? You see the whiteboards there, lots of ideas. Probably we filled up like 4 of those like floor to ceiling whiteboards with ideas. We used a proven framework for addressing wicked problems to identify the type of world we want our work to help make possible. And we began looking at what assets we can bring to the table to help make that happen. So you see that picture at the bottom with those Post-its? Those are all resources that we have right now that we can put on the table, and we're looking for ways we can bring that together in support of this work. Now, as we're here on this slide, looking at our initial sort of question, Joy, is there anything in terms of dignity from the chat that we'd like to bring into the conversation right now?
Yeah, a lot of thoughts about respecting myself and others. Diana says, being able to see, Nellie says, be seen in your full humanity and treated with respect, while also authentically projecting self-respect. That self and others dynamic, I think, is really interesting. The ability to make choices for oneself, Cheryl adds to the idea of respect. John says to live as a person with agency and be respected as such. Giving respect to all. And Andrew says, dignity to me is each person's interest, inherent value, and worth. And violations of dignity are actions that fail to acknowledge that.
Ooh, oh my goodness. Wow.
Got some thoughtful folks here with us today.
Thoughtful, I love it. I love bringing the really deep thought to this Wednesday webinar energy. Great job. When we were, and you see the whiteboards on this picture, but when we first heard the word dignity as part of this discussion, for me, it was like a lightning bolt. I often struggle to think beyond the work I'm doing to what ultimately that work should serve. I'm a very process person. I love my processes. And so thinking about what that could look like, what that could have meant for me in my life, right? Being served with that information felt really exciting and interesting. And I think it seems like it's resonating with a lot of people here too, which is wonderful. So today, right here, right now, we are at the point where we can extend this invitation for those who are feeling interested or inspired to join or to stay informed about this effort. I think you get the sense that we are in very early stages here, and that's intentional. We really want to build this together. So if you are feeling, as a journalist who serves communities of different types, ready to examine what it could mean to partner up together, you can take the plunge. And we will give you that invitation at the end of today's call. If you feel like you don't really, for whatever reason, and there are many, many reasons this could be true, you're not ready to take the plunge, but you'd like to dip your toe. You'd like to stay updated as this moves forward. Maybe attend future webinars. We have a webinar next month with someone who created something called the Dignity Index. It's going to be fascinating. Then you'll have a way to just stay informed. And there are a lot of people who registered for today's call who aren't working at newsrooms or as a journalist currently, but are supporting that ecosystem. So if you want to lend a hand, and I've talked to some of you about this on today's call, we will have a way for you to be notified when we identify, maybe we don't have a post-it for the board yet, but maybe there's someone out there who does, who would be willing to lend a hand toward this effort. So at the end of today's call, you will be able to decide which of these tracks makes the most sense for you. And so I invite you, as we talk through this idea, to really consider if you have any questions that will help you make that decision at the end of the call. Please do pop those in the chat because we want to hear from you. So what we want to explore, that lightning bolt moment that happened as we were talking through what our work could support, is this concept. And we've been workshopping this concept. We're practicing how to talk about it. There's a lot to unpack with dignity. So please, if you have any thoughts or questions as we deliver this invitation, please do share them with us. We want to hear that. That would be very helpful. We want to build our effort around journalism that serves communities. And that could mean a specific location or a shared identity or experience for a group of people. It could be you work at a newsroom that serves many different communities. That's fine, so long as you're clear on who you hope to serve. And so this question is what we came down to as one we want to look at with our work. How might we, through our journalism, equip people to navigate their lives together? And together is doing a lot of work there with dignity. What does it look like to have dignity as an individual? What does it look like to have that dignity as a member of a community? And so I'm going to hand the mic over to Joe to talk a little bit more about this dignity concept. And please do share your thoughts, questions, reactions in the chat. We'd love to hear them. All right, Joe.
Thank you so much. And yeah, so this is a question that we went back and forth over in Chicago for some time. And I'm going to try to talk at a normal person's talking speed. So let me know if I'm going too fast, but I get excited. So we went back and forth on this question of what are we talking about here? Like why this? What do we want? What do we want to focus on? And we landed on dignity for a variety of reasons, but one of which is that I think it just speaks to a core issue that every single person living or otherwise has had to grapple with or had to encounter in their lives. And it's also, as a somewhat of a side note, it's not laden with some of the colloquial associations, buzzword feely sense that some of the other approaches and words and phrases that we've seen used in the past. And, at some level, there's this thought of like, are we just chasing the newest word? Some of you may be like, we already do a lot of this stuff in our work. Of course, dignity, and that's very fair and true. And oftentimes, when projects like this are launched, it can in some ways be a rhetorical or linguistic attempt to just sort of refocus and recenter sort of what we're doing. But we landed on dignity because I think it really does capture the core of what I think we mean when we say we're doing journalism to make our communities better or to improve our communities. And even though sometimes journalists struggle with defining what do you mean by better? Well, if you can't define better, then how do you orient yourself and whatever? And so we took some time to really ask ourselves, what do we mean when we say dignity? And for us, as many of you pointed out in the chat, it starts with being recognized as a full human being, a full person with agency, not being reduced to a stereotype or a label or a condition, being treated with respect and not being subjected to undue humiliation, ridicule, or disrespectful treatment. The ability and the tendency to conduct yourself with grace and composure, to maintain your appearance and environment, and do so with self-sufficiency and not and independence, and not being completely dependent on others or other systems for basic needs. Being able to maintain your privacy and your boundaries, having control over your own personal information and space. Aging gracefully, to be able to make your own decisions about, to any extent that's possible, about what your physical and mental capabilities are and how you'd like to develop and grow them over your lifetime. And of course, having enough resources to meet your basic needs without constant financial crisis. And if we go to the next slide, this is a little corny. I'm gonna show you a TikTok on 2x speed on mute. But this is from an account that we brought up in our conversations that really I think drove home with a fine point of what dignity might look like in practice. This gentleman on the left here is Spencer from SB Mowing on TikTok. Some of you may be familiar with his work. What he does is he goes around to neighborhoods and he finds lawns and homes that are overgrown and just a mess. Sometimes they're abandoned, and he offers to cut the lawn, trim it up, do landscaping absolutely free of charge, and he makes videos of it. And in particular, this woman here, Beth, as you can see, is quite old, has mobility issues. And her lawn, as you can see by this tree, is completely overgrown. And the conversation they have, and I urge you to go watch the video, and Joy has posted a link to the Instagram account in the chat, but go and watch this video and just experience the way that her life is energized when she finds out that this person, out of the goodness of their heart, is going to help her retain and maintain a sense of dignity in her appearance, in the appearance of her home, the place that she inhabits every day. And the reason I overlaid the video on this Kickstarter or GoFundMe is to demonstrate that community members also respond to these acts in a very positive way. There is a need and an urge and a desire out there to see more of this. And when organizations or individuals are seen or are understood to take on these kind of tasks purely to restore dignity to someone, the response, it can be overwhelmingly positive. So it's to point out that these acts are simple, often quiet, often unseen, but also very well regarded and positively received, not just from an emotional standpoint, but in this case, a financial standpoint. And people are willing to not just give their time and attention, but often their money, to the tune of more than $750,000 to support work that restores or improves or maintains dignity.
I love that. I almost don't want to leave this slide because I want to finish watching the
video.
video.
It's a longer video than I thought it was, but I watch them on 2x speed because the audio is very satisfying as well. It's and it's a particular my favorite particular form of brain rot recently. So
So I want to pause here for anything that's coming up from the chat, because obviously there's so much to talk about with dignity. And again, today's call is really an invitation for those of you who are interested in continuing that conversation with us as we build this effort. So Joy, is there anything from the chat that we should call out or respond to at this moment? No?
Nope, not yet.
All right, so we've been in touch with some newsrooms, sort of testing out what it means to do this work together. We're already learning a lot, including what is needed for setting expectations for productive conversation about how people do and do not currently experience dignity in their lives. So we expect as we move forward that if you choose to take the plunge with us, you'll learn what is surprising when we focus on what dignity means for our communities. What support can we find, again, together to do that work and to do it well? And then also, who can we learn from who's also doing work in this arena to see what's possible? And so those are some of the I would say, benefits really to participating in terms of what you can come away from the experience learning about. And then we here, the panelists today, as members of the core team, we want to find out what's possible when we bring our existing resources together with newsroom partners to pursue this work. Looking at those post-its, what can we make happen here? We're really curious who will respond to this invitation. I will be completely honest. One of our questions coming out of our initial meeting was, will anyone respond? And then we had 145 people respond. So yes, people will respond to this. And then we also want to know how this will inform the way we understand success for community serving newsrooms, and also the power we hold as journalists to really contribute to this conversation for the communities we serve. So here we are today asking you, do you want to join the table? And if you're not currently working in service of a community with your journalism, but to those who support journalists, would you like to lend a hand? We're not asking you to fill out an application, but to express your interest in having a conversation. Truly, really, we want to know what we might be able to build together. We're excited to build this project in collaboration with newsrooms. We have dedicated resources and time to put toward this work. You all saw the post-its. We're here to partner with you to discover what we can bring together from our existing assets to build toward this reality. This is the work that we feel called to do right now. And in a moment, we'll lay out exactly how you can get involved with whatever method, take the plunge, lend a hand, dip your toe, makes sense for you. I will say, this restaurant was delicious. You should want to come to the table for no other reason. So I mentioned we were using a proven framework for addressing wicked problems. It's called strategic doing, if you're curious in learning more about it. And it goes through these very specific skills around what could we do, what should we do, what will we do, and then iterating and learning from there. So although we don't know exactly what this dignity work will look like at your newsrooms, again, we want to have the conversation. We do know this strategic doing process drives results. For example, in 2011, Stanford and a nonprofit partnered up to reimagine engineering education for college students. So our question is this idea of equipping people to navigate their lives with dignity. Their question was, what if we empowered engineering students to bring their ideas to life? And through this process, what they came up with, that was what could we do, is they worked with teams from 50 universities over 3 years to redesign the undergraduate engineering experience. Again, looking at what they currently had to put toward this imagined world. And the result was that those teams launched more than 500 projects, and I'm quoting directly from the case study here, that often opened the way to new resources and institutional support and made possible major achievements at many of the schools. So can you imagine? And we don't know that this is necessarily exactly how this will unfold, but this is an example of how this process has worked. If over the course of the next few years, 50 community serving outlets were able to launch and learn from 500 projects on how journalism can equip people to navigate their lives with dignity, we know many of you are already doing incredible work in this arena. So today's call is really an invitation to start moving forward together, either to build on your existing work or to create something new. Joe, do you want to tell people who maybe
Sure.
aren't as familiar with us and our work what we bring to this type of engagement?
Absolutely. So, part of the beauty of the focus of the project is that dignity can mean different things to different people, and often does. And we also understand that each of you and your organizations have different resources, different capacities, different focuses, and different communities that you cover. And so our role and our commitments to you as a project partner will be to obviously listen to you, learn from you, adapt to find the best way possible to make sure that we find and preserve a shared vision of success, if you will. And in doing so, we want to make sure that we're creating a situation where our job is to reduce friction. You know your communities best, you do the work for them the best, and we see our role as sort of allowing you and augmenting you so that you can do that even more and even better. And so obviously that involves respecting your time, making sure we're not overburdening you or over asking, and that we're actually providing a value to you as a supporting partner. And in order to do that, we obviously, between the four or five of us, we have facilitation and project management skills and software programs, access, resources. Our collective networks allow us to coordinate and promote the work that you're doing at a wider level that you may have had individually. And we don't have anything locked in stone yet, but we are working and have had some conversations about possible funding and support that could go directly to you and your journalists to carry out this work in your communities. And again, it looks different to everybody. So this could be a collaboration. It could be a test case here. We could do a pilot program, engagement work. I mean, it runs the gamut as long as it is focused on the mission of this project, which is to figure out how we can equip people to live together with dignity. What that looks like is up to you. Sorry.
You are all good. Okay, it is decision time. So get in your questions in the chat. We have until the bottom of the hour. Anything that will help you make this decision. We will send out this to all registrants, this link, so don't worry if you don't catch it on the first pass. We would like to invite those of you who feel like, I could take the plunge. And by take the plunge, again, you don't have to commit to anything huge. You're just saying, I want to have a conversation at that table about what this could look like for me and my work. Book a call. I think actually we want you to book the call hopefully before April 30th, but you'll be able to book a call with one or more of the members of the core project team to talk this through. So if you're interested in taking the plunge, that's your option. Certainly, we will also keep you informed. We're not going to cut you out of the conversation. However, if you're not ready to talk with the core project team yet about what this might mean specifically for you and your work, but you're interested in this concept, you're interested to learn what we're learning as we go and learn about future opportunities to take the plunge, then you can go ahead and dip your toe. We'll have a way for you to opt into email updates. I promise not to spam you, and you'll be able to just stay informed and again, receive invitations to future webinars around this dignity concept. Okay, get in those questions. I've got one more option here, and then we will do the big form reveal. My fellow JSO and educators and other people who have expressed interest in this project, if you feel like you could lend a hand as we start having these conversations with newsrooms, then we can notify you as needs arise, as we see those spaces where we don't currently have a posted asset to put on the board, and extend the invitation to you to see how you might get involved. Again, it's an invitation. We want people to respond because you have the capacity, the interest, the energy to respond. You don't have to feel guilty if you do not. So what will we do from here? We named this project 100 Days of Dignity because we wanted to spend the first 100 days of the new administration developing this idea so we can best come together to do meaningful work. That means we have until April 30th. That's the 100th day. So by the end of April, we aim to have our first partnerships in place with those of you who want to take the plunge. We're going to be developing this together. Our commitment to you as a project partner is to listen and learn and identify a shared vision of success. If any of you have worked with me before, you know one of my favorite things truly is when a newsroom says, I don't have time for this right now. And I say, thank you. We have all saved a lot of energy and effort. So that is fine. And in May and July, we'll have opportunities to share what we're learning and building at the Collaborative Journalism Summit and at SourceCon. So this is really the start of what we hope will be an ongoing conversation, and one that I am just, especially given the wonderfully thoughtful responses you already have, like ready to go in webinar mode, about what dignity means to you. It's a conversation I am just so grateful to be able to have. So Here it is, the invitation, and we're popping the link in the chat and we'll share it out afterwards. Whether you want to take the plunge, dip your toe, or lend a hand, go to this form, same form for everybody, to connect with us. We are grateful for your interest, for your time, for the work you're doing every day in service of communities. These 100 days are our chance to come together to build from this important work, and I can't wait to learn what you're bringing to the table. And with that, we have, 5 minutes for questions.
You can drop them in the chat. You can, I think we can raise people's hand. I think we can allow them to talk, I think.
Yeah, if you want to talk, please. And if you have anything to share about work you're doing in this area, love to hear it. Open floor.
Andrew, yes, we do. And John can speak to that.
Yeah, I can speak to that a little bit. I mean, there's a few different frameworks to think about dignity.
But I'm sorry, could you say what the question is for anyone who can't read the chat?
Yeah, absolutely. So Andrew asks, is there any reading on dignity you'd recommend? There's definitely things to read. There's different frameworks that I can send your way, and I can drop those links in the chat as well. But basically, I mean, one of the ways that this really intrigued me at the start was thinking about social determinants of health. And so basically, for those that don't know, those are non-medical factors that can affect as much as 50% of county level outcomes, which is even more impactful than clinical care. And so when you're thinking about these things, it's like wealth, education, things like that, that actually have a bearing on people's ability to live their lives with dignity. Yeah, so that's one way to examine it. There's a whole bunch of research. There's extensive research on social determinants of health. So if you're entering this as with a kind of data reporting or investigative mindset, there's a lot to parse here if you'd like to do that. There's also a lot of dignity frameworks. And again, I'll include these links once I'm done talking, but one of these dignity frameworks raises the difference between being listened to and being understood. We often talk about being listened to or wanting to listen to our communities, but do we fully understand them? And what difference would that actually make in our coverage? There's also the possibility to examine some like meta narratives about what's going about like kind of what happens around in the world around us. The protest paradigm, which is how newsrooms and journalists cover protests, often without acknowledging the frustration that those protesters are actually expressing and acknowledging just the protest, the episode itself. We kind of know it when we see it, and we also know when it's kind of lacking. I think of the Buildings Matter Too headline that came out in Philly in the midst of those 2020 protests, and how demeaning that was to so many people. So definitely tons of reading. I would recommend Matthew Desmond's work. He's a Harvard sociologist. Reading Evicted or Poverty would be a great example. But yeah, we can share more of that, and I'll throw some links in the chat.
So we have a question from Shaya asking if we are going to share the recording, and the answer is yes, we will be sharing the recording. We have another question from Karen asking if folks outside the US can participate.
I believe.
I'm not sure we talked about that.
I think what I'm remembering, but correct me if I'm wrong, is that while our organizations largely have US-based expertise and resources, we are open to partnering outside the US, so long as you understand that we are really coming from that sort of US context. Yes?
Yeah, and also like regarding payments, it makes things, if we do end up securing micro grants or anything like that, it's going to be a little bit more difficult, and you'll have to be patient.
Yeah. So yes, asterisk.
Sorry, everybody in my office is panicking because Slack is not working for us now, and it's throwing everything out of whack. So
yeah.
I've seen a couple folks just asking for more information. There is an option in the form to just stay in the loop with what we're doing. So even if so filling out the form does not mean you are committing to a project. If you would like information or just want to stay in touch with us, do fill that out.
Yeah, and if you fill out the form and choose the dip the toe option, there's a spot on the form you can say if you have any additional questions or comments. So if there's something specific you need to know before deciding to take the plunge, put it in there. You're not obligated to do anything. We're happy to respond to that. I know we are just about at time, so is there anything else burning in the chat that we should address before we release people to the rest of their day?
Did I say one thing real quick?
Go for it.
Unless there's something else in the chat. And I also just want to acknowledge that for some people, this concept of dignity might feel nebulous and abstract. And so the reality is that I'm also inviting folks who just have a curiosity about exploring this more to fill out the form. Like, this shouldn't feel like your typical, like, I'm filling out a form grant application, this is intensive. Like, I want this to be inviting and open and engaging, because the fact of the matter is, like, dignity may seem like an abstract concept, but as soon as you start to explore what it means to you, or what it means to even people in your newsroom, you sort of see it happening in real time. I mean, part of what I find so fascinating about this is the potential for values alignment at a time when so many journalists are experiencing burnout and challenges within the industry, and understanding that we have a framework to potentially do that is why I'm really, really excited for this. So just making sure that people recognize that this is not easy to talk about, but that's why we're here to support you.
Thank you all for your time and attention and interest. And please, we want to do this work. We want to hear from you. We want to learn together. And so we invite you to fill out that form and start the conversation.